Well, hot damn, we got the MF and turbo mounted. Got some oddly suspicious happy radiator. Much more respect for the guys that do this on the daily. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the channel. So last time you guys saw us work on the Camaro, we went ahead and finished up the floors with the bed liner, and I'll go ahead and show you a few other things that we got done. So we'll start back here in the trunk of the car, and as you can see, we got our water box and we got our fuel cell mounted. So these things are nice and solid. So what we did is actually weld up some little feet on all of the mounts for the boxes. So now they're nice and centered, you know, good spacing between, just enough spacing for a vent for the ice box, which is gonna come up, do a couple loops and go back down. Case of a rollover, things like that. But overall, this came out really nice. It did take us a little bit longer just because we are still learning how to TIG weld and whatnot, but we're getting there. And as you can see, we're getting some good fab stuff going on. So secondly, we got the cage all painted up with our Steal-It. And as you guys can see, it came out pretty damn good. So went ahead and painted the tubs and let's see, underneath the dash and firewall area, just with some regular black, just to make things nice and clean. But the cage is all painted up. This leaves us really not much left to do in the interior side of the car, which is kind of nice. We have headliner, a few things here and there, wiring and whatnot, but that's kind of later down the road. So up here at the front of the car, we went ahead and actually ditched the long Flotex. As you guys remember, they kind of sat out right around there, which kind of left us close and little to no room to work with. So what we did is found a set that is much farther back, which is going to help us out with spacing and whatnot, since we're going to mount the turbo right around here. So we went ahead and started welding up some pipe to our transitions. No, we did not weld this one. Yes, we cheated and bought it already done. I know, but it was cheap, so we said why not. But our welds, not too terrible, but you know what, they're gonna hold, and that's really all that matters on this car. But as you can see, we're gonna go kind of straight down, 45 it across, have our little slip joint fitting right here in the center, and then 45 back up. And hopefully we can have the merge collector right around here. So this one's gonna be kind of a pain, that passenger side, but we're gonna go ahead and figure that out. But today, what we're gonna really be focusing on is our radiator outlet. So as you can see, there's not a lot of room here, and I've already cut off the remaining stub, or whatever the hell you want to call it, this piece right here. So I already cut this off of the radiator, and I thought maybe we're gonna be able to just kind of get some extra pipe, put little pie cuts in it here and there, and it'll work, but it wasn't going to work. So we had to change plans again, and I'll show you guys what we're gonna do. So this is kind of just a rough idea of what we're gonna go ahead and do, and just weld this tube up there. We have little clearance here on the steering box, but we can go ahead and shave that corner down. But we'll weld this up, and also we do have another change of plans. We were gonna try to just kind of source out some rubber radiator hose, but the more we thought about it and the more we kind of didn't want to just go searching and maybe have no luck in finding any, ahead and decided to get some AN fittings. So this is going to help us. Let's see, I'll show you. This is going to go like that, right? So we're going to weld these up. Same thing for the top side. We're going to weld the dash 16 in here. And then what we're going to do is actually kind of cannibalize the fitting that's already on the pump. We're either going to hollow this out more or shave down the fitting itself, the AN fitting. And then same thing with the bottom. We got our big 1.75 inch outlet right there. So same deal. We're going to make sure, or not make sure, we're going to make these fit in those fittings and weld them all up. You're probably asking, Mazir makes those fittings already made. Yes, they do. The bottom one is 30 bucks. The top one is another $30. This was $11 for two of them. So you kind of see where we're going with that. It's just a little bit cheaper. So we're kind of at that point where, you know, we can kind of make things work because now we're able to weld things together. We don't necessarily have to do or have to get new parts to make things fit. The right thing to do? I don't know. Have I seen worse? Yeah. There's a lot of other faster cars than this will ever be that have way shadier shit than we do. I almost forgot to mention that we actually just bought a new intake manifold and intercooler. So stay tuned for that. That'll be in a future episode once we actually get it. So we just ordered a few days ago, hasn't shipped yet. So hopefully it'll be shipping here soon. But that is the last major part of the puzzle for the turbo cold side, or just actually the whole entire turbo fabrication. All right, first weld done. Got the dash 16 on the inlet from the pump on. You know, not the best weld. It's not the best. I'm not gonna proclaim that, but you know, for not knowing how to weld pretty much a week ago, I think we're doing pretty good. So weld number 2, this is the pipe that we're going to be putting on the radiator itself. Again, not the best weld, but you know, good penetration. Looks like it's all going to seal up. So that'll be the true test if they're any good or not, is when we put some water in this thing and actually turn the pump on. Got some oddly suspicious happy radiator right here. But yeah, all the welds came out pretty good. Pretty pleased with that. So that's it for the radiator, all welded up. Looks pretty cool. Kind of nice knowing that, you know, we're able to fab stuff like this now. So honestly, a month ago we wouldn't even have tried this. We would have probably just tried to find either another radiator or something like that. So I'm really glad that Austin and I have, you know, kind of taken the leap into TIG welding, because I know a lot of people are kind of afraid of it, or they just don't care to do it. So we're always trying to learn. We're always trying to be self-sufficient. I mean, you guys know that. Like, we're building this entire car in our garage. So not a lot of people can say that, but the ones that can are very proud of their work and proud of what they've accomplished. It was a very slow and long process to kind of machine down both sides just so they can fit, but we got it done. So I'm actually going to let Austin weld these up. So I'm going to wait until he gets home so he can weld those up, just so we both get experience and we're both proficient in TIG welding. Well guys, as you can see, our plan worked out. Went ahead and welded up the inlet and the outlet side, the little AN fittings, to the factory Mazir fittings. So I had to put a couple little flat spots on the inlet to tighten it, and then same thing on the actual fitting itself over here. Just had to use some pliers with some liquid PTFE paste. And then we went ahead and made one of these lines. So if you guys know anything about making some steel braided lines, especially like the steel braided line, not the nylon covered ones, man, those things are a pain in the ass. But overall, I think this is gonna work out pretty well. So like I said, we got one side doing, waiting on our 90 here. We have the 90 for the outlet side, but we're waiting on a 45 to kind of connect these two. So it'll run up, go behind the hot side, and go over to the outlet right there. So since we're waiting on some fittings to complete the AN side of the radiator hoses, we're actually gonna go ahead and try to mount up the turbo. And how we're gonna do that is we're gonna use just some steel rod, hopefully weld it somewhere in this area, and just kind of have it coming off over to our flange. This is our flange. We went ahead and welded up some little ears on it. That way we can mount it. So should sit somewhere around there. Might have to angle it a little bit. We'll have to see. Probably gonna go ahead and try to come up with some type of jig for the turbo itself. So I was thinking maybe a piece of wood from the support all the way to the cowl. Maybe ratchet strap it up there or something. So that's probably gonna be the most difficult part of today. Other than that, you know, once we get this welded rod up on the subframe, we can go ahead and start heating it up, bend it up, and go ahead and tap it, because this is a 3/8 inch inner diameter rod. So we have 3/8 to tap, so we can go ahead and tap that and run a bolt straight through it. And that'll be one side of our mount. The other side we'll kind of figure out after we get the hot side done. But until then, we need to go ahead and probably throw a fender on here and get the turbo somehow, some way mounted up. Well, hot damn, we got the MF and turbo mounted. Ooh, yeah. That was kind of a pain in the ass, but you know what? We got it done. That's the little setup that we did, little standoff. So I just MIG welded it together because, like I said, it's not permanent until we get our bigger turbo. But I mean, it's pretty solid. It ain't going anywhere. So especially with the 2 pipes coming in, it should be plenty sturdy enough. Give you guys a little under view. Yeah, it's not the prettiest stuff. I know. It's okay. It's gonna do its job. That's all that matters. But all in all, I'm pretty pleased with how it came out. So we'll probably end up drilling a big old hole right here because I think we're gonna use the side marker light that's on the bumper. So you have your main headlight and then you have your turn signal light. I think we're gonna take that light out and actually make like a little air duct that goes straight to the inlet of the turbo. So I think that'd be pretty cool just because there's kind of like a big wall right there. Plus we don't need any of that anyway. It's just there for kind of support, which we'll have plenty of. But yeah, so biggest thing knocked out. So now we can actually really start doing the hot side. So what we'll do is we'll take this side and just come straight down pretty much with a 90. And we already have a 90 that'll fit pretty much. So come down with a 90, probably a little pie cut right at the center of it. Just get the angles a little bit better. And then same thing, this one, just come down. We'll put our slip joint right in the middle-ish. And then come up, clear the frame, and right into the other side. So before we continue on the turbo kit, I really want to stop and thank each and one of you guys that have subscribed to the channel and that watch our content. It really does help us out. And you know, we just reached the 1,000 mark, and that's super awesome, super pumped. Me and Austin are very excited about it. And really what that means is it just kind of shows us how far we can take this thing and to see what kind of builds we can come up with next. Well guys, I think we got the first primary tube going over to the collector. It's not welded up on the collector yet, but it's all tacked up right now. And it's got super good fitment. So we've really been taking our time trying to do this and trying to do it correctly because, you know, the turbo kit itself is going to be permanent. But, you know, obviously if we get a T6 turbo, we'll change the flange and whatnot. But the piping and all of what you see already, that should be permanent. So I think it came out pretty good so far. It's definitely been a struggle, and I do have much more respect for the guys that do this on the daily or even just on their side job or whatever. I mean, it's pretty difficult to get all the pie cuts and stuff like that lined up. And honestly, I think the most difficult part about this is actually cutting the stainless steel. So I see a lot of people using band saws. I probably wasted 4 or 5 blades today trying to cut some material. I even got a special blade for a saw that just wiped out after like 3 cuts, so I was pretty upset about that. But, you know, it's kind of funny that we actually resort back to, you know, a little sawzall that actually works somehow. Not sure, not going to complain about it. It takes a little bit longer, but that's what we're going to do for now. So unless we can find some really good blades, if you guys know any good blades that cut stainless steel like butter, please let us know down below. So we got the passenger side, hot side done. So it's all welded up 100%. And I did notice you kind of see some of the welds are gray. I guess they call it the affected heat zone. It was just getting too hot. So those came out pretty good on the collector. But these gray ones you see are just too hot. So they're getting too hot. So as you can see, like this one's got color, which is probably a little bit too hot as well. But some of these are, you know, you can see the color in them, and all that means is there was more shielding gas on them for longer until they cooled down. So I think our problem is not having enough shielding gas or even just having the wrong cup size. So I was using a number 8 cup and just, you know, from the cheap kit that we got. So I think we're gonna have to upgrade and get some, you know, some big ones like some Furic cups or something that make, you know, some pretty large lenses just so we have tons of gas coverage. But either way, we're going to go ahead and upgrade our lenses and get some better quality things. That way our welds just can come out just that much better. And for those of you asking, yes, I did back purge it, so there's no sugaring inside. it's all nice and smooth, so I'm very happy with that. But all in all, I think it came out pretty good. I actually did have a fitment issue when I got done welding, and I put tons of tacks. I probably put 4 or 5 tacks per tube, and I don't know why, but when I welded everything up, it just must have shifted so much that I actually had to take a little bit off of the mount right here, this tube right here. I had to take about a 1/4 inch off on both sides for it to line back up on the V-band. So right now it is tight. I just wanted to make sure we had good seal there, and I was able to run the bolts down for the flange. So she is solid now, and what we're gonna do is actually go ahead and start working on the other side. But that will be in the next video because we actually ran out of argon. We are 100% out of argon from welding that up. So I finished the last weld and I left the purge on for about 10 minutes and noticed that it was off. It was completely at 0. So my fault on that, but we were low anyway. So we'll get new argon, and then we'll go ahead next week and continue on the hot side. So we'll get the driver's side all buttoned up, put the turbo on. Hopefully we'll have our intake manifold and intercooler by then, and we can go ahead and start on the cold side. So that's going to be it for today's video, you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for subscribing, and we'll see you in the next one.